Good day. This is Sylvie with another health tip. And today I'm going to be talking about the ADHD conundrum. A friend of mine was looking for support in that general area for a young family member, and I thought, well, while I was doing my little extra research and gathering information, I'd feed two birds with one feeder, many birds with one feeder, so to speak. So, yeah, ADHD. It's a label. It is problematic in many ways because of how it's actually described in the medical journals, and if you actually read how it's diagnosed, most of the stuff are things that many of us actually experience on a regular basis. Even some people who have a quite high degree of wellness and proactive wellness habits in place. So it's problematic that way. There does seem to be something in terms of lack of focus and things that are connected to metabolism and brain function and all of that is affecting many more people every year. And the diagnosis that the medical establishment has decided to call this is attention deficit or attention deficit hyperactive deficit disorder. I don't remember exactly the full formal name for it. That's why they put it in an acronym. So yeah, so these days, I mean, we are bombarded with EMFs, radio waves. People are using those headphones without the wires, so you're getting even more radiation exposure, holding phones to their heads, putting phones in places touching organs that may not be a good idea. Then there's all the screen time, lack of exercise, video games, diet. People are eating a lot of seed oils, a lot of refined carbohydrates, a lot of refined sugars. There is so much going on, and lifestyle in terms of what people are doing now and what people did a number of years ago, even just 10, 20 years ago. Lifestyle has changed. And if you go back 50 years, it's a huge difference as to how much time maybe people might be spending outside, how much time people are spending in front of a screen, how much exposure people are getting to all these cell towers, etc. So every time they bring out something more in terms of radiation, a certain percentage of the population has a harder time adjusting, and these strange illnesses appear out of nowhere because we can't see these waves going, that we are energy. There's a lot of trauma as well, so people have made some connections and correlations with ADHD and some trauma, or even intergenerational trauma. So we are working with that. Trapped emotions. Community has taken a beating in terms of how people get together, how people communicate. So there's a lot of challenges out there that lead to ADHD type symptoms. Now there is some consistency with some people, and I'm not going to argue with anyone about diagnoses, but I don't like labels. I find they put people in boxes, and I find that, again, I think I mentioned this in another one of my videos, is once somebody gets diagnosed, they kind of put you in the box and, okay, check, you've got ADHD. Oh, you're stuck with it for life. You can manage it with these drugs. Boom, that's it. Done. There's nothing else to do. So it's almost like a psychological trap. And many people have gotten better. Many people have no longer needed their meds, doing many different modalities. And this is a real whole lifestyle situation. So I would look at nutrition. I would look at lifestyle, exercise, breathing. I would look at considering increasing meat products. I did actually help a friend of mine. He actually managed to get off his meds. He wasn't taking many, but just a small doses near the end. And he was able to wean himself off by simply increasing his meat intake. So there is something going on there. The brain is mostly fat, and it does need cholesterol and is actually made up of some cholesterol as well. And since we are electricity, we need certain electrolytes, and we need certain things in our diet that a lot of people might be deficient in, things like magnesium. So this would be preventing the synapses from occurring properly. So we've got, amongst other things, so I have a few videos down there that describe that in more detail, because there's a lot going on here, and there are so many variables in these situations. So here I most likely do some dowsing and figure out which is the strongest modality to start with. And I've always had the most success with diet with myself, so I tend to start there. Other people, it could be other things. So a lot of the breathing and how we digest our food is connected to the vagus nerve and how it controls our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So one of them is the whole systems that, pumps your heart for you, helps you breathe, manages all the digestion. That only works when we are calm and when we feel safe. So if we're in fight or flight, or if we're stressed, that affects the digestion. So one might want to deal with some breathing before doing the nutrition, because then you might not absorb the nutrition because you may be so agitated that it's not going to work as well. So there's some things you consider working at together. So there's those aspects. There's releasing trapped emotions. There are body works that you can do, massage, gua sha, chiropractic adjustment. I would just, if I was diagnosed, say, with ADHD, I would definitely want to check my alignment, because a lot of chiropractic and there's the other one, it'll come, and I'll let it come. So, and other body manipulation modalities help the nerves function better, because if your body's out of alignment, then your nerves are not communicating properly to each other, and things like digestion or brain function or anything could be not working as well as it could. And that's kind of like a bit of an easy fix, or a good kind of checkup. And so let's see what else. Oh yes, people are eating genetically modified things, high fructose corn syrup. All of those affect the brain very negatively. People are eating too many grains, too many pesticides. So a lot of the diet issues, it's very important to look at what you're eating and what is in your food. Generally speaking, if it came in a bag, in a box, and if it was made in a lab, or if it was made in a big institution-like setting, chances are it's not going to be really good for you. It's like you usually want to buy food that's, you can tell what it is by looking at it. So like if you're buying like broccoli, you can say, oh, this is broccoli, it's not in a box or a bag or a can. If you're buying meat, you can see that it's meat. If you're buying fruits, if you're buying I don't really, I shy away from grains as much as possible. Some people don't have a problem with them, and some people do quite fine with some grains in their diets. So I don't want to poo-poo those too much, because we're such individuals. So it's really important to talk to the body, test, do muscle testing, do dowsing, to find out what is the ideal diet for that person at that time. Saying that, some people have had really positive results by going on a more ketogenic type diet, very low carb, or even a carnivorous type diet. And so those are very interesting options, and one could try them out for a while, be patient with it, and see how well that works. And if it doesn't work, then it's a journey of finding, tweaking, fine-tuning different things. And there's a lot of support now for ADHD in terms of helping people manage their organization. Even there's tasks that you can do that helps wire the brain differently. I did find one organization that does that for, I think, children. I imagine there's some for adults, and there's probably more than one. So I just thought, okay, well, there's one out there that's interesting. And so that would be something worth looking into. And then there's strategies to use while you're healing to help you feel more organized, to help you feel more calm, to help your child, to help you communicate with your child in a way that feels calm and safe, so we're not exacerbating the situation. So that's when I'd use interpersonal interventions, interpersonal support and guidance, such as nonviolent communication, such as checking out Shelley Lefko and getting rid of any limiting beliefs by the child or the parent who may have limiting beliefs around healing this situation, around shifting the situation to create much more positive, whole functioning of yourself as potentially an adult with ADHD or for your child. So there's many different aspects to consider. There are many things to look at. So if you do have ADHD, I kind of overloaded the links. So just maybe take one in a day or watch only part of a video. Remember to breathe deeply. And a really important thing to help regulate your whole system and to help focus is breathing. So one thing is to maybe breathe in for 5 breaths, stick out your tummy, and then breathe out very, very slowly, like maybe out for 10 breaths. Or I should say 10 counts. So that's a really good one. There's 4 square breathing you can look up as well. So those would be a very good, easy starter things that you can do once a day or as many times as you need it. And just simply remembering to breathe, not holding your breath, is very important to help your body regulate itself and to help your vagus nerve manage your system so that you can digest better, so you can heal your brain better and activate things like neuroplasticity. So there are so many options for healing, and I wish you all the best in your journey. I focused here more on nutrition in terms of increasing the meat, increasing butterfat. Things like coconut oil are also very good. Meat fat, not everyone can do cow, so I mean there's lamb, there's goat, any ruminant animal would be useful for this, so that would be great. So lamb, goat, cow. Way back in the day I heard really interesting, I don't know if you could get this now, but some people actually used to eat horse. I know my grandmother ate horse, and they're also ruminants. And deer, venison is very good as well. Some people do better with more wild game type stuff, so that could be interesting as well. I'm not sure what moose and bison is very good. So again, the less hybridized meats some people have better luck with. Bison's a little bit on the lean, so that's when you want to substitute with, some butterfat or ghee. Some people who can't do dairy especially are lactose intolerant. Ghee, properly made ghee, should not have any milk solids in terms of the proteins or the sugars, so that should help a lot of people who have issues with lactose and the milk proteins. That's what most people have problems with dairy. So that's one of the least offensive dairies, and you can also muscle test it or get someone to check it for you to see if that is safe for you to eat. I think that's pretty good. So mostly nutrition for this one, a little bit of breathing, and some organizational tools. I left some videos with some people who've had some organizational tools. And I read this really amazing book. Actually, I think it's right here. Because quite honestly, if I look back at my childhood, I was very messy. I talked excessively, had a hard time focusing, etc., etc. And I managed to get strategies that work. But this one is really good. It's called Order from Chaos. I think if I'm recalling correctly, it was actually written by a legally blind woman. I don't know if she's fully blind, but she's legally blind. And it's Order from Chaos, a 6-step plan for organizing yourself, your office, and your life by Liz Davenport. And I highly recommend it for people because I looked through so many books, and I found a lot of organizational books could be relabeled as how to die of a coronary before 60, and that was not my plan. So I let those books go, and that one really resonated with me. And she's a very creative person, and I think a lot of people with ADHD or on any kind of spectrum tend to be a little bit more on the creative side. So we tend to organize things differently and have a different flow. So I find she really speaks to that kind of personality. So that may be useful as well, I hope. And without much further ado, I think that's it for today. Check out the links, check out my little blurb, because I do give a few other details. I try to keep it varied between my little blurb and my video. And I think I'll do some more videos on body work and communication and those aspects later. Okay, have a great 2 weeks.